Hey there, gamers. It's John from Press Play Pulse, your daily checkpoint for gaming news, deals, and stories that keep you plugged into the gaming world. Today we've got an exciting lineup, including a superhero shooter breaking records, exclusive deals for Nintendo Switch games, and a data mined quest that bridges two iconic RPG worlds. So grab your favorite snack, settle in, and let's hit start on today's news. Alright, let's start with some superhero-sized news. Marvel Rivals, the new free-to-play team-based shooter from NetEase, has pulled off a pretty wild debut. 10 million players in just 72 hours. That's the same record Apex Legends set during its launch back in 2019. If you're wondering what Marvel Rivals is all about, think of it as a mix between Overwatch and the Marvel Multiverse. You've got 33 characters to choose from, each with unique abilities and team synergies. The game's story dives into the multiverse, because of course it does. And they kick things off with a Doctor Doom-focused season called Doom's Rise. The player count is impressive, but the real test will be whether they stick around. A lot of live service games have flashy launches and then fade away, so Rivals will have to work hard to avoid that trap. That said, the game's first few days have sparked plenty of chatter online. Some players are asking for more healers, and others are just vibing with the chaotic fun of a superhero shooter. One thing that stands out is the cosmetic-only monetization model. What do you think? Is Marvel Rivals going to be the next big team-based shooter, or is it another live service game that'll burn out? Let me know if you've tried it, or if you're planning to wait and see how it shapes up after the next season drops in 2025. Alright, here's one for all the Switch fans out there. Woot has dropped over 40 deals on Nintendo Switch games, featuring some top-tier exclusives and even a few hard-to-find titles. If you've been looking for a reason to add to your collection, or just want to catch up on some classics, this might be worth a look. The sale includes heavy hitters like The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, which, let's be honest, is practically a requirement if you own a Switch. You've also got Fire Emblem, Three Houses for fans of strategy and story-driven games, and even Paper Mario, The Origami King for those who missed it when it launched. The discounts are decent, especially for Nintendo games, which rarely go on sale. But here's the catch. Woot recently made a change to how it lists its Switch games. They no longer specify whether you're getting a North American release or an imported version. Now, since all Switch games are region-free, this isn't a deal-breaker for most. However, it's something to keep in mind for games with DLC, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. If you end up with a non-North American version, you'd need to buy DLC from the corresponding eShop, like the UK eShop for a UK game, and that requires setting up a separate Nintendo account. It's not a huge issue for most games, but it's definitely worth noting before you hit that buy button. So, are any of these deals catching your eye? Or are you one of those disciplined gamers who's still working through their backlog? Either way, let me know in the comments what you're playing or planning to play. Let's dive into an intriguing development in the tech world. Reports suggest that Sony and Apple are collaborating to bring PlayStation VR2 controller support to Apple's Vision Pro headset. Yes, the tech giants behind the PlayStation and the iPhone might be joining forces in the VR space. So, why is this significant? The Vision Pro, which launched earlier this year with a hefty $3,500 price tag, relies primarily on hand and eye tracking for navigation. While innovative, this setup may not offer the precision needed for immersive gaming experiences. Enter Sony's PSVR 2 Sense controllers, known for their adaptive triggers and haptic feedback, which could enhance the Vision Pro's capabilities. If this partnership comes to fruition, it could signal Apple's deeper foray into the gaming market, a realm it hasn't fully conquered yet. However, details are still under wraps, and neither company has confirmed the collaboration. What are your thoughts? Could this alliance elevate VR gaming, or is it just another experiment? Share your opinions in the comments. Alright, this one's for all the RPG fans out there, especially those who love The Witcher or Cyberpunk 2077. A data miner has uncovered a hidden quest in The Witcher 3 that could have had Geralt himself teleporting to Night City. Yeah, you heard that right. Geralt in Cyberpunk's dystopian neon-lit world. So, what's the deal? The data miner found unused quest data that suggests there was once a plan for Geralt to travel to a technologically advanced but broken and dying world. Sound familiar? While the quest didn't make it into the final game, the connection is pretty obvious. CD Projekt Red's two biggest franchises almost collided in an official capacity. This would have been a wild crossover. On one hand, you've got The Witcher's gritty medieval fantasy, full of magic and monsters. On the other, you've got Cyberpunk's high-tech chaos. Seeing Geralt react to Cyberpunk's cybernetic implants corporate overlords and general lack of swords would have been interesting to say the least. Of course, this raises a ton of questions. Was this just a scrapped Easter egg, or was it supposed to be something more meaningful? Did CD Projekt Red decide it was too much of a tonal clash, or were they saving the idea for another time? It's fun to imagine the possibilities though. Maybe one day we'll see a proper crossover event, or at least a nod to this in a future game. What do you think? Would you want to see Geralt wander into Night City? Or is this a crossover that's better left to fan fiction? Let me know in the comments. And now, for our biggest story of the day. It turns out Sony was so worried about Xbox gaining ground that they signed exclusive deals for 3 Grand Theft Auto games. According to a recent report, these agreements were meant to keep certain GTA content off Xbox entirely, or at least delay its release. So what games are we talking about? The deals reportedly covered Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. These were the heavy hitters that defined an era of gaming back in the early 2000s. At the time, the PlayStation 2 was absolutely dominating the console market, and these exclusivity deals helped ensure that domination continued. Now here's the kicker. This wasn't just about keeping the games off Xbox, it also extended to downloadable content and additional features. Essentially, Sony wanted to lock down anything that could make Xbox seem like an equal competitor. It's a bold move, but also one that highlights just how competitive the console wars were back then. Fast forward to today, and the idea of platform exclusivity is still a hot topic. We see it with games like Final Fantasy XVI on PlayStation or Starfield on Xbox. While exclusives can drive sales, they also leave a lot of players feeling left out. It's a tricky balance, and stories like this remind us that the gaming industry has always been a high-stakes battlefield. What do you think about exclusivity deals like this? Are they just part of the business? Or do they hurt gamers in the long run? And that's a wrap for today's episode of Press Play Pulse. Thanks for tuning in and catching up on all the latest gaming news. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you won't miss the next one. Which story stood out to you the most? Let me know in the comments. I always enjoy hearing your takes. I'm John, and I'll see you next time.